Hey, this is Ready Dude, and it's that time once again where rings scare me and I don't like them. So far, in Sonic Robo Blast 2, I've tried to collect as few rings as possible when playing through the game as both Sonic and Tails, and now it's time for Knuckles. While not being able to fly like Tails, Knuckles can glide and climb walls, making him easier for this challenge than Sonic. Speaking of Sonic, there is just one thing I have to mention with him. You see, in Green Flower Zone Act 2, I always avoided the route that goes above the stage because it seems like reaching it required going through too many springs that forces you to collect rings. But if you pause the game right as you hit the spring, you can actually only collect 3 rings instead of all the rings in the line. And thanks to the Tornado Shield as well, we only need to collect 6 rings in Act 2 instead of 9 if we take this route, meaning that our final count for Sonic, for real this time, is 35 rings. I really hope there aren't any more improvements, as it would be kind of embarrassing. But let me know in the comments anyway if we can somehow make this count even lower. But hopefully this is the last time I cover Sonic's attempt. Alright, let's see how many rings it takes to beat Sonic Robo Blast 2 as Knuckles. As usual, Green Flower is easy. We speed through Act 1, getting used to Knuckles' unique moves, but also his inability to jump as high as everyone else. Act 2 also has no problems, as we can just climb past any sort of obstacle. And the boss doesn't matter, so we just beat him up. Techno Hill seems like it will be just as easy. That is until we come across this section right here in Act 1. Knuckles can't jump as high as everyone else and therefore can't get up. And the overhang prevents us from climbing up, so it looks like we'll have to take this challenge's first Knuckles exclusive route. It's actually very short and easy, and so we just glide to the end with no issues. Act 2 wants us to take the Knuckles route, but unlike Act 1, it doesn't force you to, and we can just take the standard route like every other character. I use the flaming bubble shield to jump under the wall like with Sonic, but if you don't have one, you can just climb up and jump down like with Tails. The boss doesn't matter, so we just beat him up. While there are so many ways to get through Act 1 of Deep Sea Zone, taking the same route I did for Sonic and Tails works perfectly fine. You can even do the entire underwater section without stopping for air once. Act 2 was going to go a similar way, until I saw this path that in all my playthroughs of SRB2, I never really paid any attention to before. I decided, why not, and ended up on the Knuckles route of this stage. While I hadn't taken this path before and therefore didn't know of any possible required rings, I chose to do it anyway. What's the worst that can happen? Actually, not much. We quickly get back to the main route with little to no issues, and continue on with the level. This part with the closing door though is a little worrying. See, the door closes quickly after opening, so you want to spin dash forward in a straight line to go through in time. However, that straight line features rings. It took me a few tries to get the angle right, but soon after that the level comes to a close. The boss doesn't matter, so we just beat him up. Castle Eggman has these weird spinning things that fling you around, and climbing up this wall at the start brings you to one. They don't seem to have that much use though. Oh wow. We can skip almost the entire level with these, as they give you tons of momentum, height, and speed. Just be careful to not fling from the middle, as most have a path of rings in the center. As for the section right before the collapsing bridge, we can just glide, climb, and bounce at wonky angles to skip the line of rings that the game wants us to collect. Act 2 has us making it past everything with relative ease. Nothing is able to stop us. Wait, did my game just crash? Well, I guess they were able to stop us. But it's fine, we just play through the stage again and complete it with no further issues. The boss doesn't matter, so we just beat him up. Act 1 of Arid Canyon is an absolute joke. Just climb up the walls at the start and glide all the way to the goal. Remember how this level used to cause us trouble? Act 2 is a different story, however. We can't jump high enough to take the normal path, and these walls are unclimbable, so it's Knuckles route time. Climbing up this wall may look difficult because of the rings, but remember, this is a 3D game. We make it all the way to the minecart section. While we have to collect rings here, it's good to know that these are the first rings that we actually needed to collect so far in this challenge. 9 rings in a very precise jump that I did on my first try later, we completed the level. And the boss doesn't matter, so we just beat him up. Red Volcano Zone looks like it'll be fine. Hey, put me down, no cool. Anyway, this stage is fine. And if you're waiting for the clip of me losing my mind during Red Volcano because haha funny, sleep deprivation, well, here's what I had to say about that while recording. You know, I remember when I did this for Tails, I was like so fatigued at this point, but honestly, I'm feeling alright. Maybe it's because this time is 2 in the afternoon and I'm doing this in 2 separate sessions, so I've only been recording for about an hour at this point rather than like 2.5 hours. That might be a reason why. It's probably that. Haha, I'm being responsible now. It turns out that you can actually get on that one rolling ball without collecting any rings or with the tornado shield. But who needs rolling balls anyway when you can just glide and climb through everything? Yeah! It's time for Egg Rock Zone, and we of course take the right path. Since there isn't much to talk about besides that one singular ring that we must collect in order to use the tunnel, bringing our count to 10 rings, we can just jump straight into Act 2. This should be fine! Sure, we need to get one ring to flip the switch, and also have to go through a tunnel that gives us 9 rings, bringing our count to 20. But the rest should be fine, right? See, look, it's the Dissipating Platforms room. We can just glide through this and grab a wall, right? Oh, no, go back. Okay, this isn't good. The game finally figured out what we're doing and makes all the walls in this room ungrabbable. And as punishment, this section is actually harder with Knuckles than with Sonic. Since we can't jump as high, we have to be even more precise with our jumps. That's ignoring the fact that I only have 1 life, though that may be my fault. Just kidding. They actually forgot about this one wall, so I can just climb up and skip this room. Though it did give me a heart attack at first, because I actually thought I'd have to clear all those jumps. Black Warzone's races, while not as easy as with Tails, is still way easier than with Sonic. Just one tip though, take every shortcut possible, make as many risky moves as you can, because for this part with the spikes upside down, the rings prevent us from going around them, and our low jump keeps us from quickly running and jumping over them without taking damage and dying in one hit, you know, because of the whole no rings thing. Leaving the only way through being to slowly jump, glide, and stop. Jump, glide, and stop. Jump, glide, and stop. Get as big of a lead ahead of Metal Sonic as you can, because even if you take every possible shortcut, the spike section at the end will leave you only barely ahead when you reach the final corridor. Bosses don't matter, so just beat him up when it's just you two alone in a dark elevator, and after that, beat up his father too! Please don't take that out of context. Okay, now that that is over, our final count is 20 rings. Wait, that's the same count as Tails, and I couldn't even fly this time. Well, as I mentioned in the Tails video, but those 18 rings that we needed as Sonic that we don't need as Tails is mostly stuff like springs that have rings on them. And a lot of the other sections of Sonic Challenge that were so hard were that way because you couldn't just fly over it all. So I would think that the same reason applies here, just replace flying with gliding or climbing, because there aren't many moments in this game when any sort of ring requirement can be avoided by skill, taking another route, or using a different character. Don't forget to subscribe if you like my videos, and if this game looks kinda fun to you, you can download it for free on PC at srb2.org. Before we go though, let's see what character we will be playing as next. I heard she's waiting at the end of Frozen Hillside, so let's head there. Alright, I'm here and... oh, it's Amy. Well, that answers it, folks. And hey, get off of me! Stop chasing me! Well, it seems like Amy doesn't want to stop following me, and Tails certainly isn't helping. So I'll see you all next time when I try this challenge as Amy. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye, peoples.